Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico about 100 days ago, and I want to update everybody and give you some facts about the current situation over there. So, first of all, FEMA says that, hey, we're, quote, tapped out. FEMA Administrator Brock Long said that. We're, quote, tapped out. That's a scary thought. So they're dealing with wildfire fallout in California and flooding in Texas and other things in the mainland of the U.S., and they're tapped out as well for U.S. territory, Puerto Rico. That's not a good look. Also, food shortages and unreliable running water have led to a mass exodus from Puerto Rico. They say it's impossible to get the exact number of how many Puerto Ricans left, but more than 269,000 people have arrived in Florida on flights from Puerto Rico since the hurricane. Now, many of them are, waiting it out until everything's fixed, and then they'll go back, so they're staying with family or something, but a lot of them are not. They're going to stay. They're going to stay in the U.S., on the mainland in the U.S., I should say. That's a lot. That's probably over 200,000 people who have left Puerto Rico as a result of this. How's this for a wild fact? Only 65% of the island has power, which makes it the longest blackout in U.S. history. Remember, there was the whole whitefish scandal. So there was a contract that was drafted immediately after this happened where it was a Montana electric company with 2 employees before this hurricane hit. But there was favoritism and nepotism and corruption that led to that company getting a contract, and then they're supposed to go fix Puerto Rico's grid. But then when Ken Klippenstein, journalist and friend of the show, uncovered this, man, this was it was a huge story. There was a lot of pressure, and then they canceled the contract, and then others took over. But what happened was a company that wasn't equipped to do this, and they were charging like triple what they should have been charging, and it was just a mess beyond all imagination. It's, Naomi Klein's disaster capitalism personified. That's what it is. So 100 days after, only 65% of the island has power. They promised 100% by Christmas. Didn't happen. And then the most depressing fact of all, death toll is at least 1,052 people. I think that was the New York Times that did that analysis. Over 1,000 people died. You like to think that by 2017, we've gotten to a point where you don't have these kinds of mass casualties as a result of natural disasters because, hopefully we have building codes that make sense, and hopefully we have protocols in place. But this was a disaster beyond all recognition. I mean, it's true that their electric grid was in shitty condition in the first place. But this cleanup was botched in 1,000 ways. And it didn't have to go like this. And unfortunately, we have a super incompetent person in charge who's president of the U.S., and I don't foresee this getting a lot better. There isn't a happy ending to this story. It's just a very sad story. And, my heart goes out to everybody who's struggling with this in Puerto Rico and everybody who's affected by this. And I hope it works out, but I'm not optimistic.